And welcome, Enki.
Hey guys, I'm going to tell you about the most popular app for software developers in the world right now. So Enki is the Sumerian god of knowledge and wisdom, and it's also the company that my team and I have been working on for the last 18 months. It's a free, simple, and personalized tool to improve your technical skills, no matter how technical you are, whether advanced developer or just getting started. So let's suppose you've got a few minutes just before your next meeting, and you're not going to read your out-of-date textbook, and you don't have time to find a blog post, so you download Enki. You sign up in 1 minute, choosing your levels for each of the topics that you care about, setting a notification reminder, this one's during lunch, and then answering a couple of questions to personalize your experience. All takes a minute, and then immediately you can start learning in a path that's personalized for you based on the questions you've answered. Let's suppose the first lesson you choose is a JavaScript ES6 lesson. This one introduces you or reminds you of REST parameters in ES6. You go through the card, you do a simple exercise to help lock in the content. You look at the comments, if you're interested in them, that the community have left. And then you give some feedback to move on to the next card as to whether you found the card useful. Now, each of these little pieces of data are used to adapt the learning path for you going forward. I'll skip through to a second lesson you do where you want to remind yourself how Git works. You end up unlocking a mini fun game where your challenge and your goal is to figure out which of these commands are specific to a local or remote repository. If you get it wrong, they stack up. It's a fun, novel way to learn a specific concept that you've been taught just now. You can see your scores. If you're in a team, we show you your team scores, and we're gamifying this experience to essentially create the fastest growing app ever made for software developers. You can see your progress here in the curriculum. You can see your stats. You can dig into various insights if you're interested in them, and we send you links to learn more if you have time or you want to dig in later. So in just a few minutes, you've learned a few important concepts and also left yourself some links to dig in later, perhaps when your code is compiling later on. So we started opening up basically 6 months ago. We've got 250,000 signups. 3/4 of our developers, of our users, are professional developers in the US and Europe. And our users love us. So we've got a lot of traction, a lot of great users, and all our growth has been organic so far and word of mouth. So we do have a web product, and which helps you browse through the content that you're working through, but we plan to add much more coding exercises. Product vision is to build the ultimate intelligent advisor for your skills and career. And one of the things this advisor is going to recommend is job opportunities that match your skills profile. And that's where our business model comes in. We don't charge for the content just like everyone else in the market is doing. We make money by building the most intelligent skills profile graph in the world and then making the labor market more efficient through it. My background, I've built companies that have raised more than $100 million and have over 1 million paying clients. I know how to build a big company here. My only ask, if you're recruiting right now, developers, get in touch. We're about to start a recruitment pilot with our 300,000 developers that have opted into it. Thank you very much.
Nice work. Nice work. Questions for Enki?
As you have people going through the app, which is very slick, I checked it out, how are you thinking about matching them to employers, and how are you thinking about employer acquisition?
Everything's being done organically right now. So every company I've spoken to has been interested in trying it out. We're collecting data that no one else is. So right now, it's given the fact that we're building something which is better than nothing, which is allowing them to access skills data before they've even come into their office, it's quite simple right now. So companies are telling us what requirements they need, and either they have their stuff together and are able to process a lot of candidates, which is fine, and we just introduce them to those that match their criteria, or we handpick specific devs for them that are relevant to them. Happy to go into it more offline, but it's pretty basic right now, but it's already working.
Cool. No more questions? One more question.
What's the assumed knowledge level of a user when they onboard on the platform, and when the content is kind of or they graduate from the content as well?
Yeah, so we're focused on anyone who's writing code for a living or is planning to write code for a living. In the medium term, that's going to include all people in data sciences and statisticians. You know, there are 1.5 billion people that use Excel, right? So programming languages are going to become much more like that. They're going to become much more structured. So the number of people we're addressing is in the hundreds of millions. But for now, it's just people who are writing code for a living, and you progress through the app, depending on your skills.
Well put. Nice work, Enki. Have a round of applause for him.